get multiple cars on the track. So I think the future of this series, they'll ultimately probably do a little bit more of that, but it's hard enough as it is right here, right? This is a super hard place to go after. It looks so simple, this in Indianapolis, right? But it is just so difficult to get it just right, as you just saw, right?
Yeah.
It's just they were on what looked like a great line, and they just lost control.
Well, they call it the limit for a reason, right?
Yeah, that's right.
When you exceed it, things happen here. All right.
Looks like Cavalier Autonomous Racing from University of Virginia is making their way out onto the track, so the track is cleaned up and ready to go, and they're under yellow flag right now until they blend up onto the track. And then on the back straightaway, you can see there's a kind of a service road that the cars take as they exit pit lane that's off the main track. That's really a safety thing, because as you go to merge into traffic here on the back straightaway, if you were with multiple cars, you want to make sure you'd be up to speed so there's no issue. And that those corners, as we just saw, are so difficult to get through because you're right on the edge. They make sure those cars would blend on the back straightaway, and so you can see them getting up and to blend in and going from 60 miles an hour, and I'm sure they'll speed up here a little bit. They get over onto their line, and they'll get after it and try to get themselves warmed up and go. So you can actually see them look like they're weaving a little bit. I don't know if that's for tire temp or just trying to get their bearing of where they're at. The car seems to be speeding up to now 120 as it heads down into turn 3. Right down on that white line again, right?
Yeah.
So they're getting there. It's just this team looked amazing yesterday in practice, and I think they fell a little short of being the top seed, but they seemed like afterward talking to them, I felt like they could have made it if they really wanted to. But you have to hold back at some point and live for today. So.
Well, and that's it, isn't it? You've got to give yourself that little bit of space here, and it's always better in motorsports to sneak up on something than to try and do it in big chunks and bite too much. And so I think, especially with the temperature drop and the things, just having changed the dynamic a little bit here, it's a lot smarter to warm up easy and make sure those Bridgestones are nice and toasty before you really start to put a lap down. But boy, they are right down on that line. That's a beautiful line.
Yeah, it looks like I have a little shallower entry, kind of turning into the corner a little bit sooner than what some of the other cars have done as well. I'm not sure if that's going to work for them or not, but it's just a little different line. Every team has done something different, really, as they've been out on the track, and they know what works well for their car. They've done hundreds of laps here, right? They kind of know what they should be doing. And this car so far is looking great. I mean, that's just it went through the corner at 140 miles an hour there with really no problem. It didn't look like any issue with the vehicle at all.
Sometimes when you make that little earlier turn in, it just naturally will induce a little push.
Yeah.
And as you talked about, you'd rather have the car push, because we just saw what happens when the back end steps up.
That's right. Yeah, you don't really have a chance once you lose the back end. You could see that car as it came out of turn 4. It actually was kind of correcting its steering a little bit. It would wander back and forth across the track a little. It wasn't major, but that's something as they speed up, it would make me a little bit more and more nervous. As the car is kind of doing that classic, I guess, tank slapper is what you'd call that, or whatever, where you're going. And but it looks like they're doing just fine. Again, it's on a great line, and now over 150 miles an hour. So they're definitely just speeding up every lap as expected.
Well, and the two things that I think might be unfolding there a little bit are, one, tires might not be fully warmed up. Two, the faster you go, once the tires are warmed up, the faster you go, the better the downforce is from the wings, and thus more stick. So, you take it easy till those tires are ready, but then it actually helps you to go faster.
Yeah, that's right. It's an interesting thing, right?
Yeah,
faster is better. It's a little scary as a driver. I don't know how you do that, but it's really something to.
I believe as a driver, they call it compartmentalizing.
Yeah,
when you take fear and go, for a while that's out over here. That's a good second lap. Well, 1:49.673,
and just through that corner at 160 miles an hour, so they're really looking great there. The car hasn't slowed down at all as they exit out of turn 2 down the straightaway and start to speed up. They're sitting there in 5th gear, so that's a good gear, I think, for this speed. As you get a little bit higher, you might see them shift up into 6th and then maybe drop back to 5th to pull back up out of the corner as you slow down. It's probably, if you look at the engine torque profiles and all that, probably the right thing to do, but it's a little bit difficult because you don't want to upset the car at all when you're mid-corner by shifting.
Right.
Because you could end up crashing just through that process, right? So you have to be a little bit careful how you handle that situation.
All right, let's see what lap 3 produces in terms of a time. whistling across the yard of bricks. 159.232 for a third lap.
And it looks like they've stepped it up even more, about 5 more miles per hour, maybe through the center of the corner. They're up to around 165 corner speeds, which is about as high as we've seen all day. I think with Toom we were up to around 170 mid-corner, so starting to get nervous, after what we just
Absolutely.
saw. And again, 166 or so down the back straightaway.
Well, you were talking about the gearing, and look at those flags there.
Yep.
What might be happening is as they drive into that wind, you're going to stay in fifth gear because you've got the wind in your face, so it induces more drag. So you want to power through it with a lower gear. But then when you go down the other straight, that's a tailwind, so you might need to float it into sixth for just a minute down that run, then drop it into fifth as you enter that corner.
Interesting thing I've seen about this team is they have been pretty much a steady speed. 164.705 is what they got. So they're up a little bit higher, but they went pretty much the same speed the whole time. A lot of the other teams were slow down in the corner and then full throttle on the straightaways to get the highest speed possible and then slow down again. This team, Virginia seems to be doing a little bit different strategy, just hold the same speed the whole time, and they're up to about 172. So we'll see if this car will stick if it tries to hold that same speed through the corner. 175 as it enters into turn 3.
I'll tell you, one thing that is impressing me here is, okay, there may not be a driver in the car that's overcoming the fear out there, but this Cavalier Autonomous Racing from University of Virginia, these technicians that are at the track are showing some serious bravado here after that incident by pushing the envelope. What do they do? 169.049. That is an exceptionally impressive lap.
They're still on it here. They went into the corner at 180 miles an hour into turn 1, back down to 167. So it looks like they're even trying to pick up even more. What an outstanding lap.
That was incredible. And it looks like there might be more to come yet.
Back up to 170s, in the 170s already. So they blast down that back straightaway. It's a really long straightaway itself, and you can gain a lot of speed. And it looks like they've now started to slow down a little bit here.
Yeah,
I don't know if they're going to come in or not. They say they have a yellow flag. I'm not sure. Maybe if we're seeing more rain, the cloud cover is definitely coming back a little bit here. So we'll see they're under yellow, which means they have to slow down and just run a pace speed, usually around 60 or 70 miles an hour or so, and then they'll wait. Race control will make the call whether they should be pulled in or they should get back to racing.
All right, so as our University of Virginia Cavalier Autonomous Racing machine starts to slow it down, let's get back down to Shay Adam. Hey, Shay.
Hey, Greg. I've been hanging out with these car guys for a little while now. Came down to them when the last car was actually stranded out on the track and asked, how are the nerves? Anything you guys can do? And they said, nope, not really. So let's see. You guys just set the fastest lap time. How are you feeling now?
Feels pretty good. I mean, this is a big win for us. We've had some struggles in the past, so it feels like we're back.
And as far as what's coming up still later, there's one more team to go. Do you think your speed can hold?
We'll see. Track is cold, so anything can happen. We saw that at the last one, so yeah, we'll see.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Well, that is it's an impressive run, as I said, especially following up and off like that from the previous car that produced some pretty significant damage, and being willing to say, let's get after it. Kudos.
Yeah, I don't know that I would have done that, but I'm glad they did because
Exactly.
they set a great lap time out there, and they were going fast. They're under the black flag now, which means they're going to come into the pits, and it looks like their run will be over. They're just cruising along at 70 miles an hour down the back straightaway, getting ready to come in and pit.
So the final car to come out for this part of the competition, one of the absolute top teams in this program. You're going to like this one, folks. We'll see what they're going to be able to do. Polymove.
Yeah, Team Polymove MSU, outstanding. Again, one of the top team generally. Everybody's always going after them. This is the team that held the land speed record, or holds the land speed record for autonomous vehicles.
I wanted to ask you about that.
I think it's 192.2 miles an hour, right? So they sent this set this at a large NASA facility.
Yeah,
and,
KSC on the old shuttle landing strip,
that's right.
didn't they?
Yeah,
And the video of that run, you can find it online, folks. It's just amazing.
Yeah, they took a lot of downforce away from the vehicle just to reduce the drag and just kind of change things up a little bit to make it a little bit faster. You probably won't see that broken today, unfortunately, because they have to put a little bit more downforce back in them to keep them stuck to the track. But yeah, the poly move has been amazing.
Well, just to give you a clue, folks, the previous record, which was held by RoboRace, was a 175.49 mile per hour. And you've got to do that in both directions, right? You got to back it up. And as you said, the Polymove team went 192.2. That's almost 20 miles an hour faster.
Yeah.
That's extraordinary.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing to do. Because, you can see it on some of these cars. The steering stability is the big challenge, right? And when it was previously set, you can see that the testing, some of the issues they had were around steering. So we studied a lot of that through the development of these cars to make sure the steering systems would be fast enough to mimic a human race driver, right? And they are. And it's a very difficult challenge. And of course, just having the power, these cars are so light that they'll get up and go pretty quickly with that 425 or so horsepower that they have. But still, you have to make sure you have that. You have communication with the car all the time, and you have a really good braking system at the end of that runway. Because
you better.
You certainly don't want to go off the end of it. And here's the Cavalier team pushing their car back into the pit area. It's a gorgeous car. They've done a great job, and I think, as they said in the interview, they've had their ups and downs over the years, but this team is just outstanding. They look wonderful.
Well, part of it, is there are times, obviously, when you push the limit, and you can, in theory, be the fastest car. You could be, easily the quickest, whatever. But when you're pushing the limit, things happen.
Yeah.
And so you can be quick and not win. But again, that's all part of the win versus learn part of the program here, isn't it?
Yeah, and there's nothing like being at the racetrack, the smells and the sounds of it.
Exactly.
It's really amazing. So it's great to see all the students out here today. Hopefully they had a good experience and they're still enjoying it. I don't know if they made it through the rain or not, but it's certainly better than being in the classroom. I mean, this is a real classroom, right? It just happens to be at 180 miles an hour.
Well, and that's one thing here is we got our last one going out. What I wanted to ask really quickly here while they're heading out here is
Virginia going back out again.
Oh, that's Virginia going. So they're going to be able to complete their run, and I guess that's only fair considering they did that as well. So they're going to let them get up to that 169 and then let them finish
probably
the
about
runs.
three or four laps probably after that, because they would have had 7 minutes total.
Yeah,
and they were usually 6 or 7 laps you can get in that time frame.
So we got a shot at a 170 here, huh?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
Let's hope we see it.
That would be pretty amazing.
I didn't see any rain.
No,
I'm sure the corner workers saw something that bothered them, so they sent the trucks out there to look, but we didn't see anything here, so it doesn't look like we haven't lost the track or anything like that.
No.
Everything looks clean and dry here. There are definitely dark clouds down near turn 1 and 2. And maybe even a little bit down in 3 and 4. So
North and South Chute are both looking a little sketchy, but you know what? Even though there are drivers in the cars, it's still, if there is even a chance of any kind of moisture on the track, just stop, let the officials go out and drive around and have a look. It's just the right thing to do because of what you were talking about with the amount of budget that these teams spend on these cars. Yeah,
it's not worth crashing one because of the rain. And they're already, back up to 120 miles an hour here, so it looks like they're getting back on it as soon as they can. And, the vehicle will have heat soaked a little bit, but I think at these temperatures you're not going to have any major issue. And they're running about 50% throttle right now anyways. They're just kind of, I'd say, cruising around at 145 miles an hour, which is hard to believe, honestly, when you see them go by you.
Yeah.
But they're looking great. Again, that's holding that great line. They do take that shallower entry. I would say they kind of turn into the corner a little bit earlier and hug the white line for longer than what I'd expect. But it seems to be working for them so far. The concern would be, could you lose the back end, and that kind of early turn in, early in the corner. So I think if they're going to have an issue, it's probably in that turn in. But hopefully not. Hopefully the car is stuck and doing just fine.
Well, I really do think, though, Rob, that early turn in, when you get to the apex, at that point, usually if you turn in early, you'll feel the push.
Yeah, that's right.
And then that allows the car to just check back just a little bit.
Yes.
Get a little weight on the nose and slow it down. You don't want that to be sudden. That's the problem.
Yeah, it certainly is a little bit safer if that front
Yeah.
end starts to slide. The car is much more controllable in that
Right.
situation than that the rear does. And here they are over 150 miles an hour now as they come back down the front straightaway in front of us.
It's a great sound, isn't it?
That never gets old. Yeah, no. Great four-cylinder engines made from four-piston racing just outside of Indianapolis here in Indiana, and they've been an outstanding partner to work with, and the engines have been pretty well flawless. Knock on wood. I know I probably just jinxed them, but they've really been a great partner of the series.
Yeah, there's a lot of discussion about the announcer jinx and if it's for real.
Okay.
So,
Well, I apologize for that.
well, yeah, I'm not saying it is.
160 miles an hour now going into turn 3
All right.
against the wind.
Well, and their first lap at speed was a 146, so they're starting to get right there.
We'll see if they step up a little bit more as they come out of the exit. This is, out of the exit of turn 4. This is where they have the opportunity to tell the car to speed up a little bit more if they want to, and so they're up to around 161 or so. And they were, this was the team. They were kind of holding a constant speed the entire lap. But then toward the end, as they were speeding up, they were kind of speeding up on the straight and starting to slow down in the corner. So it seems like they found what they thought their limit was for traction in the corner, and they were making sure the car would hit that. The car has a model predictive control algorithm in it that is looking for that, making sure that it can track the line and will determine how much to let off the throttle or how much braking to use, and obviously how to steer as well.
I mean, just that bit of discussion is fascinating. That you find where what the limit is in the corners, and then you make the difference up on the straights, and to be able to code that is just phenomenal.
Yeah, and it comes down to really good modeling of the vehicle performance, the vehicle dynamics. Especially the tires and how much traction you can have. Knowing, again, as you said earlier, the downforce you have at a given speed. It's all really, really important, and the computer is figuring that out as it goes. That's what the model predictive controller is doing. It's running a real-time optimization all the time to figure out what those driver inputs should be. Human does this pretty naturally, but these things have to calculate everything all the time. It's really something to see. It's amazing to see it work. It's it was researched several years ago, and now it's applied on the racetrack, right? So it's really amazing to see.
And I wanted to ask you about that because both of them are equally important, but there is a difference between theoretical and applied.
And I think a lot of the teams have learned that initially because the theory shows that all the sensors will read perfectly and everything like that, but in real life, you have noise. You have vibrations on the vehicle, and so it took the teams a while, I think, to really build up the filter systems that they run to make them more robust in situations like this. And this car just went through the corner at almost 170 miles an hour and didn't flinch at all. That wasn't possible even a couple of years ago. And so
that's
the development that they've gone through on these real life platforms has been amazing, and it really shows that it works. It's pretty hard to show up to a job interview not looking great if you can show this video during your interview, and just went through the corner at Indianapolis at 168 miles an hour. Wonderful to see, and running a great line, and they'll just creep out to the wall a little bit, then pull back down into the middle of the straightaway.
All right, 168.5 on that last lap. So we're in the window now. So let's see here. Next lap or two, if we can crack that 170, you would think a program called CAR would be one to do it.
No doubt.
Cavalier Autonomous Racing. I love it. And let's see what they can do here.
170 miles an hour through the corners, 172, 74, getting up on the straightaway here. So this looks like it's going to be another good lap. Maybe it'll push their record.
What pops up? Did they do it? Ooh, 169.4. That's quicker than they went. So they have improved, and only 0.6 of a mile an hour off of an average speed exceeding 170 miles an hour here.
Well, they're still after it. They're still going maybe a little bit faster, and this is where my nerves would start to come up a little bit and say, should I do this or not, right?
Yep.
Do I need to be doing this? And they're pushing for it, though, and you have to applaud them for that. They want to win this competition. They feel like they have a good chance at it. Because this is how you do it, right? You have to take the risk.
And there are two elements to this. The time trial has its own competition. And then it seeds the passing. So even if you have a problem in the passing, you can still win.
That's right.
The time trial, and that's a big deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's see. They didn't need a lot. They did it!
Oh, yeah.
170.645 from Cavalier Autonomous Racing in the University of Virginia. That, folks, was an amazing lap, especially after following a car that had an incident, then a stoppage, and then going out and pushing the envelope like that, Rob.
And they're still going. They're still on it. They're trying to
for
get a little
more.
bit faster at 171. They crossed the yard of bricks over 180 miles an hour here as they came
180?
in front of us. So, but they're a little bit slower down the back. We'll see. They're, 170 through the corner again. This one is going to be close. They're going to be really close, I think, again. They definitely didn't stop pushing.
Boy, driving a beautiful pattern. This robot in the coating is driving absolutely beautiful lines.
I expect this is probably their last lap to go. To time it up 181 miles an hour there as it crosses the stripe. There it is.
171.011. They just continue to open it up. What a lap. 2 laps over 170 miles an hour. They do 2 more like that. That's a 4-lap qualifying run here at Indy.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's not bad.
They are shutting down. I think they're done. They're probably out of time anyway. And
Yeah.
they're going to come in there under yellow flag, and expect to see them pit in maybe this time by. Yeah, what an outstanding run. They really deserved it. They pushed it way beyond what I would have expected them to try right now in the weather conditions that we're in, and they went after it, so I applaud them for sure.
And they did that on a set of tires because they did that first part of the run, then stopped, so it heat cycled.
Yeah.
So then they had to do it all over again, build up, and get it figured out, and they just nailed it.